All right, what is up? Welcome. As people start to trickle in, thanks guys so much for hanging out. I'm not sure this is the right way to do this, or if this is the best way to do it. I might need to just bite the bullet and just do one stream and chop it up. It might make more sense. Problem is I just don't have that much time, so that's my biggest issue right now. But thanks so much for guys for tuning in. For those of you who are watching this as a YouTube video, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoy the content, as always, I really do appreciate a like and subscribe. If you guys have been subscribers for quite some time, consider becoming a member. It helps me out a lot. Otherwise, today we're going to be talking about 3v3 tactics. So I get quite a few questions about how to play 3v3s, and I totally understand why. This is pretty awesome. Thanks, Tonlo. Thanks for being here. I totally understand why 3v3s feel quite intimidating, because there's less players with more space, so it feels like people can get lost. And there's just, you know, it's hard to keep track of people. But I'm hopefully going to share with you what you need to know so that you don't lose where your opponents are going, and to also have some kind of intuitive kind of a red alert or danger that goes off within yourself that tells yourself, I might be getting run down right now, or so on and so forth. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But also, just like I said, I want to talk about the basic principles of 3v3 and then move on to maybe some more advanced things, or just things to consider, right? Without any sort of layout to look at specifically, a lot of this is going to be in principle, but if you guys ever want me to review a layout in particular, it may not be something I do on stream, but I'm always happy to give my opinion and take on something, especially in a 3v3 setting. Generally speaking, though, given that a lot of 3v3s are played on layouts that were for 5-man tournaments, a lot of it is just the same tactics but simplified, so consider that or keep that in mind. But without any further delay, let's get right into it. We're going to switch over to the most high-tech, sophisticated piece of software I've ever worked with, which is called Microsoft Paint. And we're going to, again, look at some principles of 3v3 tactics. Okay, I realize it's not Porter, what's up, buddy? I realize it's probably not the most you know, eye-catching sort of piece of software. It's quite white, which is very blinding to the eyes in this case, but I promise you guys this will be worth it. So for some of you who are in here right now, you've probably heard me talk about this before, so I apologize for those who have. But let's say that we're gonna say that this is the home side. Oh, I need to put my pen down. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this. So this is the home side, which you are on. And then here is the away side, okay? So you are playing on the home side. So we're going to be looking at things, and we're going to say this is the little start box, okay? And this is true for this side over here. This is the start box, okay? So hopefully you've oriented yourself. We're going this direction. All right, so we don't need to create a layout to kind of understand how to play 3v3s from a basic level, okay? And the reason I want to talk about this first before I get into anything advanced is because we all need to be on the same page about what the fundamentals of 3v3s are before we ever talk about advanced principles, because advanced principles of 3v3 are heavily steeped in metagaming the basics, okay? And what I mean by that is that if you don't understand the foundation or fundamentals of playing 3v3, it will be very hard for you to subvert those foundations to then outplay your opponents on a higher level, okay? Which is really all there is to do with 3v3s. In the case of 5v5s, you need to understand the basic principles, and then you need to play them correctly, and then you need to... if you can expect that your opponents will play those correctly, then you can start metagaming those. And when that happens, when both teams are now understanding all of those and metagaming each other, then is when you create essentially a new meta, a meta of metas of sorts. That's a lot. Hey, if you guys want to help me out and comment, just type in meta in the description, okay? But there's a lot more complicated layering with 5v5 than there is with 3v3, okay? So first things first, 3v3 relies on a very basic principle that you should spread positioning out on the field, okay? So you need to have a guy... this pen is like super weird because I want to like hold it close, but it doesn't want to be held close. So you've got a guy usually generally positioned here, generally positioned here, and generally positioned here. By the way, absolutely. So generally speaking, you want to spread the field, okay? The other principle of 3v3 is that you want to have all three guns, Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on. This is going to be super hard to type. Oh, I lost an X. Okay. All three guns up. Okay, that's a big one. You want all three guns up. at all times. Okay, there's very little reason that in a 3v3 you should have any gun down. Very little reason, very little excuse for this. Okay, if you do that, you are simply just conceding unnecessary ground. Because if, for example, you are dying as you're running out to a bunker, it means that you probably need to do some kind of crazy route to get there, right? The advantage to 3v3 is that you can just like stop in the open, because generally speaking you won't have two people looking at you. So if you're trying to get out to the corner, for example, on a particular side and you're dying, well, and maybe instead just like stop here and shoot and then run out to the corner, right? That's always an option. So keep that in mind. If you're dying with your gun up, choose a different bunker or delay to going to the bunker you're trying to go to. The second principle that is really important to understand is that these guys on the outside are always, their primary emphasis is on the outside of the field. Okay, this is the basic principle that you need to understand is the wrap and go. Actually, here we'll do the ampersand. Wrap and go. W and G. Okay, this means that as the widest guys on the field, you want to ensure that you don't lose track of whoever's in front of you because you decided to look on the inside of the field for a second, and then this guy recognized that and took a bite, and now you've lost him. Okay, and the reason that's important is because your center guy is going to be the key factor, the playmaker in all cases in an evenly matched game. Okay, and the only way that he can be a key factor is if he knows exactly where the opponents are on either ends of the field. He doesn't need to know where the middle guy is necessarily. The middle guy can be a complete question. But if you... Oh. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get rid of W and G because I want to get rid of this line. Wait. Okay, what is happening? Okay, there we go. Whatever. These guys need to be apprised to what's going on in the outside of the field. And so anytime you want to make forward progress, you need to simply wrap on the bunker that you're already at and then move forward after. And so generally speaking, these two people are trying to they're trying to scout where the middle guy is. Okay, you're trying to figure where that guy is, because this dude can't know that. It's not can't. It's going to be very difficult for this guy to know where the middle guy is because he's playing on either edges supporting his front guys, right? Now what he's generally doing when he moves is he is shooting one direction and doing the same thing, where then he'll wrap and move up. And as he wraps, he's looking straight ahead, and then he'll rinse and repeat, okay? And the whole purpose is to choose a side of the field in which you can either punish because of your opponent's positioning or because of your opponent's skill or something, and then capitalize on that. So let's say, for example, let's say that I'm going to get rid of some of these lines here. So let's say you know that the left side of the field, which it doesn't matter if it's the snake or the Doritos in this case, but let's say you know that this is their weakest player, okay? And this is their strong player. This is a hypothetical, but it does exist in real life, okay? This is if you really want to win 3v3s, okay? If this is the case, if you know that their weakest player is easily bullied and like goes into his bunker, doesn't do much, then what the home guy's looking to do is just shoot enough paint at him to pressure him to know that he's not going to look on the inside of the field for a second. And then as he puts pressure on this guy over here, he's then going to look up the middle of the field, and then make his move, okay? Because what you want to do is you want to check off whatever's going on in the middle as you make this move. And as you do so, as you make your move up the middle as the home guy, you are trying to blind out whatever is going on the opposite side of the field, okay? Now, this sounds complicated, but I promise it's pretty easy, right? You're not planning to shoot this dude, so you need to make sure that he can't shoot you as you move, okay? That's just blinding out. That's just running behind bunkers, making sure that that guy can't see you, okay? And then as you get further and further up the field as the middle guy, the distance between you and the middle guy is getting closer and closer, such that you either can surprise him because of your positioning, but now you're in a much better position to run down the middle guy and blow open the point. We'll say, this is blow open. You're in a position where you can blow open the point, because if, for example, you have kept your eyes on the left side of the field, so you know which way this guy's looking, and you know now where the middle guy is, so we'll say you know where the middle guy is at. Well, now, as soon as the middle guy stops looking the direction that you're pushing, and let's say he looks here, now all of a sudden you can come run this dude down and get a 2-for-1, okay? Because now you kill him here on that side, and then you kill this guy over here as well, okay? Is that making sense? So that's and if as you're making forward progress, you can alternate it. So let's say you don't know, you can just assume that that these guys are all equally skilled, okay? Or you just are playing a team for the first time, so you have no idea how good they are, and so on and so forth. So if that's the case, then all you're really doing is you are looking one direction, checking off what's there, or just fighting what's there, and then looking at the middle, and as you check off the middle, you make forward progress, okay? There's got to be a better way for me to do this. Then you make forward progress, and then you can switch, and you look this way, see where the widest guy is, listen to your teammates, hear them communicate, and as soon as you figure that out, then you make forward progress. It doesn't always have to be that you push directly in the middle of the field, and in most cases, you don't want to do that. But it's also possible that, like, so say, for example, the field kind of slants you this direction. So you inevitably get closer to the guy down here. Okay, that's okay. What you want to mostly avoid is like getting in the dead center of the field if the bunker's not great, and then just getting pinched out by either people. Okay, you want to generally avoid that if you can. But the nice thing is as you start making forward progress, if you surprise a guy and you kill them, well, now all you have to do is know where the middle guy is, and you prevent them from going anywhere outside of that zone control. Okay, that's what you're trying to do as the middle dude, which is the reason that he is going to be your playmaker. Okay, the reason he's going to be your playmaker is because as soon as one of these dudes dies, which is who you're trying to kill, you now chop off that entire side of the field. These they can't go here anymore. Okay, if you kill the middle guy, the advantage that you have in that situation is now you can do some kind of run through, and you almost inevitably force these two to look cross field. Okay, because the threat of you running down the middle of the field is so high that they almost have to turn their guns and protect each other, which almost always means that they concede a bunch of ground, right, on the outer edges of the field. Because by the time this dude, for example, by the time this guy sees a dude running down this side of the field and puts paint where he needs to, this guy's already going to be at the 50, or if not, they're 40, for example. Okay, so when you kill the middle guy, it might be like, oh, well, they've still got wide positioning, but the only trick is that you need to be aggressive as a middle player and push up the middle to then force these two to look inside. And if they don't look inside, it's still your job as the middle player to open up the point by running down one dude, okay? At least one, killing one guy or the other, and then make it a 2v1. That's what you're trying to do. And ideally, you want to make it a 3v1, right? But it's okay if you make it a 2v1, especially if they're in a corner, because you can corner them essentially. In the case where, let's say you kill, we already talked, right? If you kill one guy on one side, the middle guy's job is to chop off that side of the field. And what I mean by that is that they are only playing on that side of the field now. Okay, every time they make a move, if you kill this guy, every time they make a move, it's always with their gun on that side of the field, every single time. They're never going to swap and look this way, no matter where this guy is. We don't care how far up into the field this guy is, with a few exceptions. So long as this guy is alive, we can keep playing on this side of the field. Oh, excuse me. Oh, come on. There we go. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this. Makes sense? Any questions? Feel free to message or say anything in the chat if you do. Let's keep going. Okay. So let's see what else is there. So as the wide guys, when is it ever going to be the case that you look on the inside of the field? Well, there's a few reasons that you would look inside the field, but they're almost all related to in the case of your heads up gun battle. Okay, so let's say, hey Vibrator, welcome. I'm glad you're here, bud. So let's say, for example, you are pushing on the outside of the field and you get stuck in a heads up gun battle. Okay, and it's starting to become a little less safe for you to continually challenge them from the outside. It might be the case that you need to take an inside shot to surprise them and then take the bite that gets you more ground. The trick that you have to be aware of is that that's what the middle guy is looking for. Okay, so as we established earlier, your middle guy is going to be looking one direction and then checking off whatever this dude's doing, whatever this guy's doing, and then moving up that side of the field afterwards. Okay, now as he continually gets closer to you and looking that same direction, he is looking for that inside shot that you're going to take to then take the bite outside. Okay, I hope you guys are following me on that, because, like, say for example they're in the Doritos. Okay, I just want you to visualize this. I'm going to put my pen down for a second. Say they're in the Doritos and you're in a heads up gunfight with a Dorito dude, and you know, like, well, okay, we've fought each other for maybe 3-4 snapshots here, and maybe it's high and low. Well, now I'm going to take an inside shot to surprise the guy that I'm fighting. That inside shot is what the middle guy is looking for. Because as soon as you take that inside shot and you didn't know where that dude was, he can blow off your loader, shoot you in the face, whatever, right? So that's something to be aware of. That although that's what you're looking to do when you get stuck as a wide guy, you need to be very careful about what the middle guy is up to. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's see what else is there. So we've established, also here's a couple other principles of 3v3s. You should stay on your feet. So we said we got to write a few principles. So we're gonna say, actually I'm gonna just type these really quick. Oops. So principles of 3v3. Oops, hello. No. Sorry, guys. Principles of 3v3s. 1. All 3 guns up. 2. Spread the field. 3. Stay on your feet. 4. Avoid the snake in down body situations. 5. We'll talk about that in a second. Wrap and go. 6. Middle guy is the playmaker. Okay, these are not in any particular order, okay? So we've talked about all 3 guns should be up. You should be spreading the field. Oh, the other thing I didn't put on here is you should be pushing your advantage, but that's kind of assumed, right? We've established that the reason why 3v3s are so simple is because it should be obvious that when you kill a wide guy on any particular side, you're pushing that side now, right? Because the only thing that in a best case scenario, you have a 2v1 on that side of the field as you're pushing, because this guy's the only one that can fight you, okay? The reason that is because, again, this guy has to worry about the dude heads up, so he can't really afford to look cross. And if he does, let's say, for example, this guy looks cross and this guy's like, hey, watch over me, I'll watch this way. They've already lost the point because they've conceded all of this ground for you to take, and this guy is the only one that's hoping to stop you, and he's in a very, very far cornered position. I always get caught when I look inside. Yeah, that's because looking inside is super dangerous. That's why as the wide guys, you want to generally avoid that where possible. Okay, always avoid the snake and down body situation. So let's say, for example, this is the snake side, and let's say this is the Dorito side. If you lose your snake guy, let's say this guy dies. Okay, what have we talked about before? We've talked about that you want to flip the field on your opponents. You don't want to plug the hole. Okay, you don't generally want to do this. You want to flip the field. Okay, now depending on where you are on either side of the field might make that decision more difficult. 3 to the snake. Absolutely, dude. Hey, everybody go to the snake. That's the play. But if you, for example, let's say you're on the Dorito 2. Let's say you're somewhere here. Doesn't really matter because this isn't really a reference point. But let's say you're here and your back center guy is still here, okay? And you lost your snake dude. Well, your only chance of winning is to push the Dorito side, because if you decide to plug the hole over here, well, now you've really kind of neutralized whatever sort of positioning you had on your Dorito side, right? You've kind of given up the Dorito 3 as an advantaged position, okay? But in the case that you lose your Dorito guy, so let's say this guy dies, and let's say you're in the corner bunker right here. This is going to be a difficult situation, but generally speaking, if you can, you need to kill this guy as quickly as possible and then push the inside route of the snake, okay? It's okay to be in the snake and to push it. It's just the problem is that for as long as you are laying down and crawling, you are not shooting your gun and you're not able to respond and react to them. And usually when that happens, for example, if I'm on the cross on the Doritos and let's say I look on the inside and I see a dude run and dive into the snake, guess what I'm doing? If the guy in front of me is dead, all I do is I wrap, I look for wherever the middle guy is, and I literally run to the 50 because that snake guy's not killing me. That snake guy is worried about crawling up the snake as fast as possible instead of staying on their feet. Now, if, for example, you are in this situation where we said it's a 2v3 and you've got positioning in the snake already, this is one of the situations where I've got a lot of lines here. Let me clarify this a little bit. So this dude is dead. You have positioning in the snake. Let's say you're right here. Snake 30, snake 40, whatever, doesn't matter. In that case, you want to put as much paint on this guy as possible, and you really do want to flip this field as fast as you can. And the best way to do that is to get on your feet. Okay, even if it's you know, like little mini cakes or whatever, you need to get on your feet. You need to fight from the mini W's on like using the top side, and you need to put as much pressure as possible to kill this guy and push. It's going to be a brick wall in some cases, and if you don't do it quick enough, like let's say, for example, you're in the corner and this guy's at the home and you lose this dude. Well, now you kind of have to play containment, right? So let's say off the break, you lose this guy and you guys are still in your back primary bunkers. Well, this guy's probably going to get to like the Dorito 3, no problem. So you have really no other choice than to like shoot this way and shoot this way and try to play, you know, 2 1v1s while isolating this guy where possible. And then this guy kind of has to break out, because he can't really punch the middle, but it depends on how you respond, right? So if in the breakout you lose your wide guy, but these two were shooting snake way, well, now it might be that you do need to take kind of a big crazy bite. Okay, it might be that this guy holds the corner and this guy pushes all the way to the inside route of the snake and tries to kill this guy or make him a non-factor, so that you can wrap and punish this guy faster than this guy can get to your side of the field. I know it's like counterintuitive. I promise that is the way that people play paintball. That's what Rusty Glaze, Tyler Harmon, Ryan Greenspan, Marcelo Margot, literally anybody I've ever gone to a clinic has said, that you should be flipping the field more often than you should be plugging the hole. And the other reason is because if you die here and the middle guy is the one who responds and he pushes up the middle, well, now he's got a really easy trap. He's got a really easy trap to wait for you to push into, right? That's so common to happen. I know you number 3s know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're in the back center and you lose one guy off the wide and you switch to go push out, every time you're like, where's that middle guy? That middle guy is going to set up a trap for me. Would the snake player want to stay at God, or would they have a better advantage at snake 50 after enemy snake is killed? So is it a 2v2 or is it a 3v2? Dang, dude. Bussy, man. Hello again. Eli, what's up, dude? Bussy. Oh, you mean busy. We did a little 3-man tourney this weekend. It was super fun and fast. That's awesome. Yeah, 3v3s are really fast. They're really fast because you have to be on your feet. Okay, we already talked about all of this pretty much. But generally speaking, what I'm trying to say about avoiding the snake is this. If you have to go into the snake or you're already in the snake, you should get on your feet where possible, okay? The longer that you crawl up the snake, the less surprised you are to what's going on the middle and opposite side of the field. And the more likely you are to give this dude a free chance to either run you down on the highway or to... Because, like, a lot of times what happens is when you dive into the snake and you're crawling your way up, then this guy will... Like, these two guys will bully whatever the middle guy's doing. And if they get that kill, you are crawling with your gun down with 2 people looking at you on their feet. So this guy can easily run you down on the highway. He can just run you down along the tape. But this guy will move up the middle and watch the inside of that snake to see if you try to poke up. Okay? That's the only reason that 3v3s are hard for people, is because they do so on their knees with their guns down. They're not shooting. They're not applying pressure, right? And now the best drill... Oh, 2v3? Would the snake want to stay a god? Yeah, so depending on what if you're in the snake already, you don't have a choice. If you're not in the snake, it is probably better to stay in the corner or in the god somewhere and try to win from that position. Because now, generally speaking, the god will be either an Aztec or even a mini W that's much easier to work from, and you don't put yourself in such a scary position. The challenge is that the god bunker is usually on the inside, which means that if they are in the snake, you've conceded the entire wide angle, which means they could probably get to your snake side with the coverage from the guy in the middle watching him, right? Because this dude right here is going to watch what you're doing, and this guy can then shoot whatever's going on the Dorito side. So that's the only trick that you have to be careful of, which just generally means that you need to be shooting at all times at the wide guy where possible, and mostly the guy that's on the inside that's going to take this inside route. Generally speaking, you can respond to, I guess if it's a 2v3, the assumption is that one of these guys is dead, but you get my point. Generally speaking, if I'm in that situation where I'm a 2v3 and I'm in the god on the snake side only and they're in the snake, my biggest priority is to find where the middle guy is and kill him, or to get him to look the other direction by mistake, right? Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what are these basic principles, what should we be doing in the case that both people are playing this correctly, but we also need to talk very quickly about recognizing mistakes. Okay, I feel like the majority of the 3v3s that I play or have played in the last several, I mean, I haven't played in any 3v3 tournaments in a while, but even in 3v3s in practice, there's the easiest way to win 3v3s is more about punishing mistakes than it is about like making the most correct decision possible in any given situation. Okay, now we know what the basic principles of 3v3s are, so we can understand, or hopefully by now recognize what a mistake would be. Okay, so if for example the wide guys look inside for any amount of time at the beginning of the game, right, for let's say 10 seconds or more, that is a immediate punish. That should be an immediate punish play. Okay, from both the wide guys. The middle guy just needs to stay alive, but if he recognizes, if he says at any point, we call the Dorito corner the Delta, and then we call the snake corner the Cobra. So if at any point, and this guy is looking around, says the Delta's on the inside or the Cobra's on the inside, that is code for these guys to push as hard as possible and as fast as possible, because the only person that they have to shoot to go is this guy. And that's a simple wrap and go, right? You put paint on this dude, you get him to flinch, you immediately push as fast and as far as you can until you get this guy to look heads up. Okay, now the trick here is that if they don't look heads up, you can actually just your presence, your mere presence is going to apply so much pressure that these guys either have to stay in a cross formation, which again is a mistake because it frees up your middle guy to take a bunch of ground here, or you set up in a bunker that surprises them. Like, so say for example these guys cross at the very beginning of the match and this guy runs up to their snake 3 or something, right? And he takes a low wrap angle on this guy. Okay, so he can see if he peeks on the right side. Very easy, very close-up shot, super easy. And he's also in position to run down this guy at a moment's notice. Okay, well, he doesn't have to do anything for probably 10-15 seconds, and this guy's going to start feeling the pain. He's going to start getting really, really uncomfortable, and this guy's going to be shouting, he's in our snake 3, he's in our snake 3, he's in our snake 3. And now if at any point this guy turns, he's probably going to die. If he looks on the inside to wrap on you, you've got your middle guy to pick up on that, right? Because you're in their snake 3. Your middle guy should be supporting that push. It should be very obvious that you should be supporting that push. But if not, the other thing you do is that you cause all 3 of these people to look this way. That's the other more common thing that happens. Okay, so what happens is if you get to their snake 3, we'll say, then what happens is this guy looks this way, this guy looks this way, and this guy is trying to look this way, and that frees up this side then to push. Okay, because now, and that's pretty intuitive, because now all of a sudden this guy who was shooting at a dude at home has looked the other way, and the guy heads up is nowhere to be seen. He's not shooting at the wire at all, right? And so now once you get here, you chop this dude up. These guys, if they're still looking this way, he can just continue going. If they decide to turn their guns and look this way, well, now this guy runs them down. And the middle guy just holds the zone, right? The middle guy prevents this dude from running out. Okay, I know I'm drawing a lot of lines. I apologize. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's the first mistake. If you notice that teams go wide and look on the cross, that's a very, very easy thing to punish. I hear a lot of people say 3v3 is just three one-on-ones. Is this true? It is 2 1v1s. It is 2 1v1s with one of them being a 2v1. That's how I would say that. I mean, it is effectively 3 1v1s, but the middle guy's job is a lot more complicated because the middle guy is supporting one of these 1v1s, effectively making it a 2v1. And in some cases, it becomes a 2v2 because of that, but you just have to recognize that, right? Depending on what the layout is. So, for example, it might be that like the snake side is a better layout to push the middle from. Well, then it essentially becomes a 2v2 with an island drill over here. Oh, sorry, that's supposed to be a 2. So it becomes a 1v1 and a 2v2, but again, it very quickly becomes a 2v1 if the middle guy starts to look the other direction. So, but to go back to this, that's the first thing you should recognize, okay? And this is true for any amount of however they decide to do it, okay? It doesn't have to be cross. Let's say this guy's doing his job looking heads up. and let's say this guy's looking this way, and then this guy decides to, oh, I'm going to look on the inside. That should be a quick, immediate recognition of pushing up. And then again, if you're playing on the wide side, all you have to do is hold this spot. And the longer that this guy looks on the inside of the field, the more uncomfortable he will be to check on the outside. And what oftentimes will happen is he'll ask the middle guy, hey, look over the Doritos. I don't know what's going on in the Doritos. And in that case, you've already got a trap set up for him. Okay, because you can either blind out the guy in front of you so that you can low wrap to find the home, or you can just look on the inside. So for example, if this guy looks on the inside and this dude calls, let's say this guy says, well, this is a Dorito, so we'll say Delta. Oop, that's an E, I promise. Delta is on the inside. Then all he has to do is take a route that will blind that guy if possible, and then stare here. And then this guy can come here and look on this direction. Okay, so that way, if this dude's like, oh crap, my home guy's starting to get bullied really bad on this side of the field, I'm going to look here, or rather I'm going to take an inside route, he's going to die regardless of which direction he goes because the middle guy's supporting that. Okay. Sorry, it's really hard to write with this pen. I'm still not quite used to writing with it, so it does become a little tricky. Other mistakes to recognize. Oops, don't want that. Other mistakes to recognize is, well, first of all, if they pull up really short, okay? So let's say, for example, these guys aren't even over here, but they're somewhere in the middle, like, ish area. This is, again, a very easy thing to punish as long as you just play wrap and go. That's kind of a self-explanatory thing, but it should be a high priority emphasis for you, okay? These guys want to get early ground they want to get wide really early, and then this guy punches really hard afterwards, okay? Because these guys are not going to look for this middle dude. If these guys are pulled up short here, they're going to be so panicked about people getting to the 50s and being punished for that mistake that this middle guy is free to do whatever he wants. He can set up a trap. He can run through. He can do a lot with that, okay? So if your opponents pull up short, that's another thing you can do to punish. And what I mean by that is, like, you should generally be running to at least what the primary bunker would be for the number 2 on either sides of the field every point. That should be the bare minimum that you do. So for example, let's say that we're going to turn these into cans, and let's say these cans are corner bunkers. It might not be that you can get to the corner off the break, but that you get to the primary bunkers or the behind them. That's okay if this is your breakout, but you need to quickly get outside of those bunkers as fast as possible. And sometimes when I'm playing 3v3s, what we do is we just like literally run in these dead zones. We'll run out in the open in these dead zones and then fight our way in a heads-up battle and then push out to get to that corner instead of just going to a primary bunker and getting stuck and then trying to break out. Because it's almost always easier to get to a bunker off the break than it is as a secondary move. So never cross in 3v3. It's just simply that the longer you cross, the more opportunity you're giving them to take ground. Okay, so the deepest cross that you could make in this matched scenario is shooting this corner guy. Okay, that's like the best case scenario that you could cross that. But any amount of cross that you make more shallow than that, so like let's say for example they move up to the snake, let's say they move up to the snake 1 and they move up to the Dorito 1. Well, now look how much room you're giving the middle guy. Okay, or if they keep moving and you hold your cross and you're shooting the Dorito 3 and the snake 3, well, now look how much more room they have. Like you're just, the more and more you cross, the closer and closer you give to them, right? The more space you grant them unnecessarily. And so and it's also that it becomes much more difficult for these guys to know what is going on heads up, which is the most important thing for you to be able to push, right? This guy has to know what is going on and straight in front of him for him to have the confidence to snap shoot and know where he should be putting his paint. And if you don't do that, you rely on the middle guy to know what's going on. And if he was looking the other way the entire point, well, now you have no idea what is going on the snake side in this case, right? You have literally no idea. And this is the easiest way to die in a 3v3 or in a down body situation when the wide guys are not doing their job by looking heads up. Because now what you do, you guys have all done this, I'm sure. You're like peeking around, you're like slowly looking, and you just get gogged right in the face. Because somebody knows where you are, you're in an obvious position, you're in the widest bunker on the field, and they know that you don't know where they're at, and so they just sit there and post up on you and wait till you make that decision to look on the outside, and that's how they get you. So that's why it is so important to play on the outside of the field at all costs. You should look on the inside of the field maybe once, maybe twice, and for seconds, and then you should go back to the outside every single time. Not gonna lie, I shoot inside trying to bait people to run the tape a lot. Not on 3v3 though. Any tips for 3v3 mech specifically? Not really. I mean, the principles still apply. If it's a speedball field, these principles still apply. Well, so here's the thing. It's what I mean is that it's okay. Like, it is okay to have a purpose for looking inside. So let's say for example, this guy is looking this way, and this guy is trying to fight you, and you know this guy's gonna push as soon as you look inside. Okay, so let's say you dominate this dude, you absolutely crush him. Well, if you do that, now you can wrap on the inside and pick off this guy as he's trying to make a quick, if he's trying to take big bites. But that needs to be a very deliberate thing. You need to be making this play so that you wrap to fight the guy heads up, right? We've already talked about this. The purpose for you shooting on the inside is so that you can wrap to kill this guy in a surprising way. It is not to really, it's not to do anything at all to the guy on the opposite side of the field. You don't care about this guy when you're over here in this corner. You want to put shots on him to make him scared, but that is all you would be doing in that case. You're not wanting to hold this cross. That's really bad. So it is shoot the guy in the middle to get him to flinch, and then wrap and surprise this guy. You know, you can shock this dude if that's the case and maybe get a kill, but then you should take the bite afterwards and respond and then hold the tape. Okay. Let me read. That always happens to me when I'm playing middle and I'm looking one direction. If I decide to switch sides, I start getting smacked ASAP, especially when I switch from D side to snake. Yeah, the other thing that's important to know is that if you take a bite up the middle as the front guy, if you take a huge bite up the middle and you were looking one direction, you need to play the field on that direction, right? You really need to be trying to win the point on that side, because it'll be much more dangerous for you to look this direction unless you know, because of this guy, where they're at. And that's totally possible. There's a lot of layouts where, like, for example, when I play the middle in a 3v3, I'm mostly just like, all right, dude, I'm going to like float out in the middle. I'm going to shoot a guy running wide, and then I'm going to instantly take a bite when he can't see me anymore, and I'm trying to kill this dude. I'm trying to dig the middle guy out. And as soon as I get in some sort of position where I know the middle guy doesn't know where I'm at, I know this guy doesn't know where I'm at, and I'm just baiting this dude, it's super simple. Because all I had to do is not shoot, not talk, wait to hear for the middle guy, and either choose to run him down or snap him out or something. But I am playing the field on this side. That is my intention. If I go up the middle and I end up looking this way, then something I was doing went catastrophically wrong, right? Because, like, we're assuming that this is the 50. If I go here and I look this way, and this guy is just not doing what I want, and I can't really wrap safely to kill this middle guy, and so then I have to give it up and look this way, I'm in a very, very bad spot. This is a situation in which I need to either get out and backtrack, or I need to just punch it and make something happen. It just kind of depends on the scenario, right? Context with how many points you have in the series, how much time you have left is helpful in that situation. But otherwise, it's like, I'm in a bad spot, I need to make something happen. And that's kind of the instinctive thing you need to pick up on, right? So if you punch up the middle and nothing is happening and you don't see anybody, you should have this warning: I'm either going to get run down, or I need to make something happen because I'm going to get pinched out by these guys. Okay. So usually what I do is I make a decision. Do I want to punish one guy? Do I want to bully one guy off the break? And that decision is made based on how big the gap is for those people. If the gap is really big on one side of the field, I will punish that guy almost every time. Like, I will try to bully him every point. If it's pretty evenly matched, then oftentimes I'll just play, I'll play my back bunker, and I will shoot one direction and read and react based on that. So if, for example, I kill this guy off the break when I'm in the back center, I will then push the Dorito side pretty easily. I will look for the middle guy, and I will just push the Doritos on the inside route. Okay. If I shoot this way and I don't kill this guy, I will either try to hold him to make my teammate's job easier to move up, or if I recognize that I can't see him and he can still challenge my teammate, I will then look the snake way and try to make something happen. And if that is also the case, if I, for example, look snake way, oh, hold on. If I, for example, look snake way and I can prevent him from moving, but he can still challenge my teammate in a 1v1, then I will try to move. I will look for the middle guy, and I will be like, I need to get up the middle. I need to do something. And that needs to be seconds. That needs to be like 10 seconds. You recognize this. 20 seconds, 30 seconds at most. And then from there, you just kind of move. The god is that little wall at the snake head, right? Yeah, so the god is always the, well, I shouldn't say always. For most teams, the god is the insert bunker into the snake. Whatever that is. It could be an Aztec, it could be a mini W. It doesn't matter the bunker specifically, but the god is almost always like the inset bunker just before you get into the snake. That's generally what it is. So, good question. Yo, I thought you were doing the 3v3 at the end of the last video. Was wondering where you went. Oh, sorry, dog. Yeah, I posted the link in the chat. My apologies. It's just easier for me to split up the streams into 2 different links. But that helps a lot. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Okay, there's probably one other mistake that we need to recognize, which is just that if you've got a guy... So let's say the mistake is... How can I put this? So we've established what the mistakes are for the wide guys, right? The wide guys looking inside of the field for too long. That's a mistake, easily punishable. The other mistake is for the middle guy to sit in the back forever. That's a huge mistake. You can punish that very easily. If the middle guy stays in the back, he's conceding all of the ground up the middle, okay? Generally speaking. Or he's at least allowing you to push one side of the field or the other and support it in a 2v1 situation. Excuse me, that is not a 2v1. In a 2v1 situation, if he stays back, that's an easy punish for you to push one side or the other. But the other mistake that a middle guy can make is if they move up the center of the field and they stay dedicated to a lane and they're shooting a lot of paint. Okay, or they're talking, they're shouting a lot. The middle guy is the one that you kind of have to go quiet the further up the field you go, especially in 3v3s. So if you hear this guy shooting a lot and he goes up the middle and holds a lane and tries to prevent your teammate from moving, and especially if this guy says, hey, the middle guy's on me all day, or the middle guy's turtle or whatever, right? There's a lot of calls you can use to describe this. That gives you so much intel, because that means, well, what can I do with that? There's several things you can do, but the biggest thing is this guy just needs to stay alive. And what you can do is you can push this way and make it, again, a 2v1 against this dude. Or, depending on where this guy's even looking, you can just run this guy down. You can that's an easy way to open up the point. If that guy's still shooting his paint and still shouting and telling you where he's at, essentially, then you as a middle guy can easily just run this dude down. That's why your middle guy is your playmaker. Your middle guy is the guy who needs to know which side of the field should be supported, know what to do based on the information he's receiving from his wide guys, whether or not he should run through or bait, right? Whether or not he should just hold and wait for one of these wide guys to make a move, or if he should just run down the middle dude, or so on and so forth. So your middle guy is one of your most intelligent players in the field, which is generally true in paintball. It's like the centers in soccer, right? Those guys are insane. But the wide guys are very straightforward jobs. They just need to be very good gunfighters. They need to be very fast, explosive, and have really good gunfighting skills. Your middle guy needs to be super smart. Welcome. Any questions about that? Generally speaking, one other thing that you don't need to worry about is I guess the other thing is if they don't have all 3 of their guns up, you should be able to punish that. Okay. Oftentimes what happens, especially like, so for example, if this guy's gun is down, this becomes a 1v1. Okay. This is a 1v1 with the middle guy. Because if all it takes is for this guy's gun to go down is for you to shoot a few balls and either win the heads up, where he just like isn't shooting, then this becomes a 1v1 with the middle guy, and that just means that you just wrap and go. You just keep going for as long as this guy gives up pressure. And so if one gun is down, that's an easy way to punish it. If this guy's gun goes down and you're playing a heads up battle, well, now the highway is an option. The highway is the inside route of any particular side, okay? The highway could be on the Dorito side, it can be on the snake side, but it's the inside route of the tape, okay? The highway now starts to become an option if the middle guy's gun is down or he just gives up control unnecessarily, right? You know those guys who, like, when they're getting shot at, they instantly go like this? They start hugging their bunker. As soon as you see a guy do that, if you scouted them or whatever, that's your cue. All you have to do is shoot a few balls at him, get him to freak out, and then now all of a sudden you can take the highway inside route and surprise this guy as he tries to respond to those moves, or as you just sit there and wait in the new position that you just got, okay? And I guess the last thing is, like, any amount of sneakiness in 3v3s should be easily punished. Okay, I know that in lower divisions, a lot of people, especially in like D5 3-mans, they will run out to their bunkers without their guns up, and they will, even if they have their guns up, they will quickly put their guns down because they just don't know where their opponents are at. But remember, we are assuming that our opponents know that they should be going wide, okay? That they should be setting up in these 3 positions, which means that we should just be shooting anyway to those positions and then responding afterwards. So if we, as we run out to the corner, if we run out to the corner of the field, are shooting at their corner, and we see, because our heads are up, we see that they're nowhere here. Well, now me as a wide guy, my job is super simple. I just hold them wherever they're at. If this is as far as they are, or excuse me, if they're not anywhere here, then this is the new problem to shoot at, and that's all I do. I just wrap. I have so much advantage over them now because I'm just applying so much pressure to this zone right here. So much pressure, okay? Because they can't break out of it now. So the reason why 3v3s can be tricky for some people is because both teams have their guns down. And they think that that's going to give them some sort of tactical advantage because they're being sneaky, they're being quiet, they're losing people. The only person who should be quiet as they start getting further up the field is this guy, is the middle guy. The wide guys, I don't care, even as they're going up and up the field, these guys should be your biggest talkers with a few exceptions, okay? The only reason that these guys go silent is if they lose the guy that's in front of them, if they have no idea where this dude is. And that happens sometimes. But that's why we wrap and go. That's why we stay on the outside. We stay on the outside. We stay apprised to that information. And that's it. 3v3's done. What do you guys think? Questions, comments, concerns? Anything you want me to explain further? I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sorry it was so confusing to have a separate link to this stream. I will definitely look into what I can do better about that. The problem that I hate, the thing I don't like is I don't like to have to download my videos every time I stream them from YouTube because I just lose more quality when I go to upload them again, and I don't have enough computer power to record and live and stream at the same time. So Porter, thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. I really do appreciate it. Also, comment in the actual video. It's okay to chat, and that's great, but comments for some reason seem to be the only thing that YouTube cares about in most cases. So when the video actually becomes a YouTube video, not just a live stream, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Maybe type, let's see, what should we say? 3v3 master? I don't know. I'm not. I feel like these are so stupid, but maybe type in 3v3 master in the comments below if you made it this far. I really do appreciate you guys so much. Again, join the Discord server if you want me to cover a layout. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions, I'm always available. Hopefully you guys feel that. So great stuff, man. I was watching while cooking, but this is my first live I made, and it was full of useful info. No problem. No problem, Supreme. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, dude. Passing this on to my team. 3-man tourney this Saturday. Appreciate the breakdown. Absolutely, dude. Porter, I appreciate you being here, man. You've been a long time member for a while and a commenter. So thank you. All right, guys, that's it. I will see you guys next Thursday. My new video will be coming out soon. I promise. I did finish the script. It is very long, but it'll be a good one for some of you. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the comments of that video. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the Discord server. Have a good one. Bye.